Recording in progress.
Just for the record, Wednesday, September 27th at 9:33 a.m. Harney County Court is in session. I believe Commissioner Shellman is planning to attend, but looks like she's running a little behind, so we will just get started with accounts payable review.
I assume the vehicle purchase for the sheriff's office was in the budget, right?
Yeah, it exceeded a little bit with the outfit or with the upfit and everything. It exceeded what we had budgeted, but we had budgeted for a vehicle purchase for juvenile department, which they ended up getting a vehicle for free from the city of Hines.
Oh.
So we had funds to cover it.
Good.
Actually, we'll still have a savings.
Good. And when there's a charge for Klamath County Juvenile Department, do they house some of our people or do something?
I don't know. I would imagine that's probably, it was something to deal with a case from Harney County.
Okay.
But I don't know for sure. I'll have to inquire. Good morning, Commissioner Shellman.
Morning. This cool, crisp fall morning.
I like the cool mornings in the fall as long as it heats up during the daytime.
Right. No, that's the caveat. As long as it stays windy and cold all day, we'll be grumpy. So are we getting voicemails on this phone?
Excuse me?
Are we getting voicemails on this phone?
Oh, there could be. I don't know. I've never checked them. Shows there's 26 new voicemails on there, huh?
Seems a little odd on a phone that isn't monitored. Maybe it's just spam. You know how that goes.
I hadn't even paid any attention to it. I guess I should go in and listen to them and see what they're.
There's something for industrial buildings and it says industrial building, City of Hines. Is that?
How much?
Or I mean, would it be like where our two buildings are that are in Hines?
Yeah,
Is it for water? Yeah.
It just didn't make, it's not a lot. I just hadn't noticed it in previous times.
Hopefully that cost is at least covered by the rent.
Barely.
Use almost to be like viable.
Yes, we do.
We could have, because we changed our court dates, we'll have county court again next week. And we should have a very small pile of AP to look through next week.
No, I'd like to, hear from the Harney about the veterans village, and I'd like to hear from the CVSO, Brian Needham I mean, we used to kind of get an annual thing of cases and successful
I-
awards and just various things.
I will, look at scheduling that. I know Director Lamborn is out on, kind of on light duty since her mishap. Yeah, she had an accident of some kind. I don't recall what exactly it was, but she was off. I think it was an off duty.
So in that case, when the directors go on, I wonder what their kind of contingency plan is with personnel.
Well, I think their chain of command kind of would run to Miss Withers in there because she's the office manager. So I think she's kind of the next in charge. But like I said, I know Angie has been working from looking at her time sheet. She's been working kind of a part-time, half-time, whatever, a couple hours here and there, a few 3 or 4 hours, whatever. It just kind of varies. Yeah. Yeah.
On design journeys, webmaster, I know we have the normal monthly fee, and then sometimes we have additional fees. This time it's office supplies. Does that mean there's hardware per se? That's what would that be?
Design journey.
That's
Yeah.
I'm just thinking
we used to
on
just have the
the
$850, but
Paul Clemens is there, looking at design. Is it something similar to Paul Clemens?
I don't know what this business is.
Business of making signs.
No, but that's our web
This is our
designer.
web. Yeah. You know what the 500 is for?
I don't. I'll have to look at see if she submitted
I think I
an
had a
invoice.
question last,
That's
a
on,
couple times ago also on the additional fee and,
those are on EFTs too. Is that electronic transfers?
yes.
To be honest with you, I have some issues with a lot of the EFT charges because we don't get an invoice to look at. We just see the actual final.
I didn't know.
Yeah, I mean, you have to dig deeper to find the invoice. It doesn't come in through our regular packets or come across my desk in a review type of a situation. So I just see it on the EFTs after it's all done.
Like how is approval? Quantified.
It comes through accounts payable, Tammy Adelberger. And I don't know, I need to research it a little bit more, but I know I don't automatically just see a receipt for some of these different things. So I never know.
What the actual
Yeah.
invoice.
It's probably legitimate.
No,
I've had a couple of questions over time to see. Prior to us redoing our website stuff, we usually just have the monthly.
There's been quite a few additional charges
Yeah.
from that vendor this past 8 months.
Okay. Let me check out. First Citizens Bank and Trust Company. What do we do business with them on? That was a bank back in North Carolina. That was regional. You know, there were a lot of First Citizens back there, but it says maintenance is that the maintenance contract? Maintenance con?
I don't know.
Should we ask?
Yeah, circle it and I'll ask Treasurer Heaney about it.
Solutions, yes, is a process of maintenance con.
That's part of our copier contract.
Bobby Joe coming here for a minute. Let's just do this. Question. So on this, it says that this amount will be deposited to this line in the general fund, but we actually only have deposit 42,000 in
So
the
this-
general fund.
Which one? Sorry, there's two separate.
Yeah, it's this amount that ends up being the total on that page. So I'm just trying to
So,
understand why it says on this one that only this will go to the school fund and that will go to the general fund.
so this one is this one.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
so
is it-
this amount gets put through our percentage.
So in this document, it's referencing both these amounts.
Correct.
So out of this one,
Out of-
42,000 of that goes to general fund and the remainder of this comes from this amount.
These are two separate payments.
Okay.
So top payment is from our electric,
Mhm.
which is their, in lieu of.
Mhm.
And so this amount I put into the percentage schedule that Karen certifies, and then that determines who gets what. And then this payment, the Oregon Trail payment, is what they call gross revenue tax. And from this amount, general fund gets this.
Oh, okay.
And then this amount I send to Corey Wright at ESD. And she puts it through their ADM
Mhm. ADMW, yeah.
schedule. And then she sends me the breakdown of which school districts, how much they get.
Okay.
And you'll see that.
So this one is treated differently. This one is in lieu of taxes. This one
Is
is
a gross revenue tax.
gross revenue tax.
I know.
Thank you for clarifying that. I'm
No,
like,
it's okay. It's taken me a while to be able
Better
to be like,
understand
why
the
is
difference.
one different than the other? And then the ADMW is based on like
the student population. Yeah.
Do you know, there's a EFT to First Citizen Bank and Trust, and it says maintenance contract. You know what that's for?
that is for the copy.
Is that part of the copier? Okay. I wasn't sure.
That's our lease.
Yeah,
the
I know, and then
copiers.
there's the Yes Solutions is also part of that too, right? There's
Yeah.
like two parts to that.
Yes, yeah. I don't know what this, I honestly don't know what all the solutions is. The one is the lease and then one is maybe the usage.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Something like that.
It might be a question later for Tammy, I don't know, but on design journeys, we have a standard amount that is monthly, pay. And then occasionally, or maybe regularly, there are other charges.
Those are from various departments, so like I saw. I can't remember which department had an additional bill for something that she did for them.
So like this one says. Equipment, doesn't it? Well, it says office supplies.
$500.
Let's see. Might have been Renee's budget. 226, so that is Renee Palmer's,
Addition of that.
one of her grants. So I don't know what kind of work. Cindy might have done for the additional fee.
They were gonna add something to the website that was specific to her.
Yeah, I don't know what office supplies though.
Yeah, I don't know why it'd be turned off the supplies.
They may not have had a good budget line in that grant.
That's where
They're
she.
pretty-
Okay.
They're pretty limited.
Yeah, that's the line that it came out of, not what the service or what the
Yeah.
fee, okay.
Right.
These EFTs, is there and it seems like I've asked Tammy about this before, but I don't know what she told me exactly. But on the EFTs, does an invoice come through actually that says, I mean, is it electronically transmitted, the invoice that says what the service is or what we're paying for?
It's an invoice, just like a check invoice. So the department will get their invoice when they submit it to Tammy. If the vendor is set up in our system as receiving electronic payment, then that's how we determine if we pay them electronically.
So we don't get an actual detailed invoice.
Yes, we do.
We do.
It's like any other bill. It's just we're paying that vendor electronically versus writing.
So where do the invoices go though? Cause on these, you know, some of the stuff I see, and but on these ones, I never see them. The EFTs, I mean, I never see them until court day.
They go into laser.
I'm glad
She
you pointed
laser
that out,
fishes
because for a long time I've been
everything,
wondering
whether
something.
it's EFT or check.
Okay.
When she sends
Yeah,
those
like for a couple of years, it should have shifted.
that
Yeah.
I approve,
I mean,
it's
that's what.
there's two attachments, and one of them is EFTs that are paid, and one of them is social listing.
Okay. So is that kind of a preview of what this is gonna be then?
Yeah.
So in reviewing those, I could go down and review those and look at the invoices and see what the charges are for. I mean, that gives me the heads up time, right? Okay.
Yeah. And I, on the EFTs, just so you know, like, when I do last eyes before I send like these, I go through detail. I pull what I've got and I mount everything, because once we send that,
It's
it's
gone.
gone.
Yeah.
The checks, on the other hand, I kind of scan and it's going to go through for something.
Yeah. And that's with the checks because we have to sign them. And I don't do it every time, but a lot of times I will look and say, who's this to? And if I have a, you know, what was this for type of a question, then I go into Laserfish and look at the,
So like,
but these ones do get, the EFTs get an actual invoice for what the service or product or whatever it is, right?
it's just, we're paying them different. So it's the same process, just in how we pay them. So like if you, when she sends that, like, council report, you can open that and skim through it and then know or feel it.
All right. Thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
That answered that question.
Yeah. At least now we
some of the-
understand how to.
Some of the processes I'm
count
still
difference.
learning.
I think
You
there's 10 years from now, you'll still have what anyone would ask the questions. You know, so never jump it.
Well, like I
If
said,
it was ever on it
Something
or
that
it's
you
new.
don't interact with on a very regular basis, it's hard to keep all of it straight. Oh,
How's the school year going for your kids? Pretty good.
yeah, okay.
Shell drying. You,
Yeah, well, I'm just,
Oh, really? Oh, man.
They're not.
Yeah.
No, you name it a certain thing. Well, it's. This challenge. Jeff never complained about my cooking and housekeeping ever, ever. It's been a years.
I got the link on there.
Okay, great. Thank you. Just try to make it as easy for people as.
Oh, yeah.
This is actually the first one.
Jody's supposed to be on here. I've talked to her a couple times and I sent her an email reminder and I haven't heard back from her. So I'm hoping that she's.
Okay.
Yeah, she's on.
I don't have a whole lot today.
Mm-mm.
Be a quick call.
That'll be good.
Mhm.
Last night's kind of full.
Yeah. I'm probably gonna take off maybe around 3 o'clock today. You can save if you'd like.
Okay.
And we'll be back up here at 5 to go to the meeting tonight.
Husband, I told him, my husband said, "Can I come to the meeting tonight?" I went, I vote no.
I know my husband wants to go
He
too.
was at the last one.
I mean, he has the right to go to meetings and say anything he wants.
Come on.
He said, I can't ask you to be less than you are, but
Actually, if Matt came, we might call upon him for some technical questions.
I forwarded the link that Tammy provided me to Feather and to Susan Christensen,
Oh, good.
because if they can zoom in, and
They were planning on it from what I understand. So,
I know Feather
So-
said she had some kind of like social reception kind of a thing she'd be able, she might slip out.
Okay, Susan
But
was,
Susan,
so she's read through the whole document, was ready to.
And you had said that they have audio visual, Zoom, internet, whatever capability there at the school to,
Right.
okay.
Yeah, it's the same room that they host their school board meetings in. It's a normal room.
We get the internet
Yeah,
password or whatever.
yeah, Eric will be there and can help us. with
Okay.
that. Like, what time are you heading out there?
I'm probably, I mean, it's a half-hour drive, 5:10-ish, just to give us a little time, make sure we're set up beforehand.
Jonah picking up at the grain shop?
I can do that. I was gonna ask you if you were, yeah,
Yeah, instead of driving to Jonah, I'll just meet you at the grain shop.
okay.
probably come sliding into home a little later.
Out of the pause point there.
Yeah, I think this one is complete.
How do you miss the memo on a little bit of red today? But
Oh,
Kristen,
Yeah, I'm out of it.
It's okay, I have it covered.
I'm gonna dress more casually tonight.
All right, good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday, September 27th, 10 a.m. Harney County Court. Regular session is now in session, and if you will stand, please, and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This Monday of this week, they had a American Legion dinner for the national commander of the American Legion was in town, kind of doing a tour, whatever. So when we did the Pledge of Allegiance, they said that, service members, prior service members could salute, you cover your heart or you can, and you don't get the opportunity to salute very often, and it feels good when you do, because it just brings back a lot of
Good memories.
good memories.
Well, we'll let you sleep in here if you really want.
I thought about it. I almost did, and halfway through, it's like, I could. All right, good morning, everybody. So we've been voucher approval, working on that already. Next item is agenda approval for the September 27th. Today's agenda, 2023. I don't have any changes or updates.
I don't either.
I entertain a motion to accept the minutes or the agenda.
I move to accept today's meeting agenda.
Second?
A motion's been made and seconded to approve today's agenda. Any further discussion? And hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. And opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Next item, minutes approval for September 13th, 2023 County Court Session.
I'll move to approve the minutes from September 13th, 2023.
I second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve minutes from County Court Session on September 13th, 2023. Any further discussion?
Just want to thank Tammy. That was a lot to capture.
Thanks.
You did a very good job.
Yes, you did. It was nice.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. And opposed? And hearing none, motion carries. Next item on the agenda, opportunity for public comment.
I guess,
Please state your name.
Barb Kennedy. The only comment would be congratulations to Representative Owens for his appointment.
Saw that this morning. For deputy leader? Yeah. Deputy leader of the,
So is that the minority leader position that Vicky Bruce Iverson had just stepped away from? And that was her
He
work?
was the leader. He's the
deputy leader.
Okay.
So I would assume it's a vice,
Okay.
secondary.
I was a little confused because I'd seen her article saying she was stepping away from that and then this, and they
I could
termed
be
it
wrong.
differently.
I thought hers
And I was
didn't
like,
have it for deputy.
Maybe it
but
did.
I-
It might not have. You're right. Yeah, thanks. for
Anything
bringing
else?
that up.
Thank you for bringing that up and recognizing our local representative. Now moving on then, old business. So last county court, we talked about an order actually, proclaiming Harney County's call for the repeal of the provisions enacted pursuant to Oregon Ballot Measure 110. After consulting with county council, and obviously, county can't supersede state law. So it's more of a statement or a policy type of a statement. So I changed it, or had it changed from an order to a resolution.
Thank you. That was my
Which-
concern, was that a resolution was
Yeah.
the proper way.
And I think this is a good mechanism to, when the court has a stance or on something, whether it's Second Amendment, Measure 114 that's going on trial right now, or waiting on the judgment anyway, or whatever it may be. I think it's a good avenue for the court to put our stance or our position.
I'll be able to
And-
share it now in an official manner, yes.
Yeah.
And during the AOC retreat, different breakout sessions, et cetera, I believe we will be the 7th of the counties that have done or are doing this right now. There may be more to come in the future. Again, even if it is just more of a stance, a public stance or symbolic, it can be something that our legislators are aware of. And it does have some meaning. It might not have any weight of law, but it certainly, people are coming forward, counties are coming forward to say, and a lot of them want it totally rescinded. But I'll brief you a little bit later on some of that other stuff.
I move to approve resolution 2023-22 in the matter of claiming Harney County's call for the repeal of provisions enacted pursuant to Oregon Ballot Measure 110 in the year of 2020.
I said, wait, yeah, I said,
She beat me to it.
oh.
I got to get a second in once in a while.
It's slow in this meeting.
Okay, a motion has been made in the matter of resolution 2023-22 in the matter of proclaiming Harney County's call for the repeal of the provisions enacted pursuant to Oregon Ballot Measure 110 in the year 2020. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, and opposed? And hearing none, motion carries. Next old business item is the EOCA membership invoice. I contacted Mr. Andrus yesterday and obtained a copy of the EOCA budget just late yesterday evening. So I'll let you guys review that. The item or the topic that we were in question on was the Blue Mountain Intergovernmental Committee and
Council.
its council.
Yeah.
Okay, they have it listed as committee on the
Okay.
invoice, but I think it's council.
Council. I'll make a note to Margaret.
has an annual due fee of $5,000. The county paid that last year, and we just were kind of curious what where that was
Benefits
going.
of those funds.
Yeah. And I agree. Mr. Andrews said that, they've made a lot of headway on that. And now in the actual planning phase is starting to kick off, that the benefit to have them still engaged and make sure that interests are represented, continue to be represented, would serve our purpose, I think. So having that in mind, I'm in favor of paying the 5,000 dues for the Blue Mountain Intergovernmental Council.
Yeah, we just had a meeting on Monday that Patty and I both attended. There was some really excellent headway made. The MOU was approved by the group, and then also the socioeconomic piece, which Commissioner Doro had been a part of, and we had
They're
some local meetings.
updating, tweaking it to make it even better,
Mhm.
and it's good too.
Come on in, sir. Is there a sign in there for you?
You sign my name?
Yes, sir, please.
Yours.
If it's on a check, yours.
Okay.
And I can't speak to other counties. I see at least one or two counties that don't contribute to it, that are sort of part of that forests, but I'm in support of.
I think there were 4 counties.
Yeah, there's
Baker,
Harney, Grant.
Grants not paid.
Or not, yeah, Baker, not
Baker
Grant,
does.
Baker,
Union,
Wallowa.
And then on the Eastern Oregon Economic Summit, what was your thought on that?
I don't know. I didn't get feedback from him on that one. And
Did you ask him at the conference when you saw him again?
No, he and I didn't have a chance to intersect too much. We were in moving around different places.
I don't know if it was on the invoice last year.
It's on all of them. but
It's on
we-
all of
We
them?
haven't,
So this is last year's invoice. I guess it was on there. So
yeah, we haven't chose to participate in that. We're contributing to the other, so. Sometimes we are part of.
Appreciate you
sometimes we
getting
are.
that.
Yeah. I move to approve the EOCA membership invoice in the amount of $15,000.
I second.
a motion has been made to accept the EOC Eastern Oregon Counties Association invoice. I thought of that as soon as I said, probably spell that out. Yeah. Invoice in the amount of $15,000, $10,000 for the basic membership dues and $5,000 for the Blue Mountain Intergovernmental Council dues. Any further discussion?
Just as a matter of note, the council will be meeting in Burns or in Hines, October 24th, I believe is the day we settled on. So if anyone has interest in participating in it, it is going to be held locally next month.
I have it on my calendar.
That's fun.
Do you know where in Hines?
At the Forest Service building.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, and opposed? And hearing none, motion carries. So I will get the general ledger line for you on this and
Is he gonna be the same as last year's?
yeah, should be. Okay. All right, moving on to new business. We had Jody McLean, the home health hospice director, scheduled. Executive assistant Renfro had tried to get in touch with her a couple times, hadn't heard back from her, so I don't know if she's running late or, well, you know what? I see her walking up the sidewalk right now.
Good timing.
It's because I said 10-10-ish.
Yeah.
Good call.
Got a pause?
Just for a moment, yes, sir.
Who are you? What's your name?
This lady,
Yeah,
this is Tammy Renfro. She's the county's executive assistant, county court's executive assistant.
Glad to meet you, Bob Cardinal.
Nice to meet you.
She took
Hey,
Carrie Opie's position.
oh, yeah,
Morning, Jimmy.
Renfro.
Do you want to give him a little like?
But you might know
local girl
Downs.
From
So Sandy, your wife,
Who?
Sandy?
Yeah.
Yep, she was my teacher. My maiden name was Downs. So Tom and Sandy Downs are my parents.
Did you ask her if she knows anything?
Yeah, she'll say good things. I hope.
small.
Yes, exactly. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Because we have such a light audience this morning, we went through public comments already. Did you have any public comments you'd like
No,
to
I'm
address?
just here to listen. And
Okay.
If anything that pertains to OTEC, so I'm glad you showed up at the Power Summit at Tennessee Lakes. I think we had some good speakers. We missed the
They didn't miss
commissioners.
it. It was
Yeah,
a crazy
the
week. That
chart
was
was able to
another
make it.
commitment.
Yeah, I know. And,
Yeah, it was sad.
well, you missed out on the snowstorm.
I heard that too. Wasn't so sad about that, but.
Yeah, it was, this is the second year we've had that. Our government affairs person put that together, and he brings some good speakers in from around the country. And one was a young gal that come from Virginia and talked about the economic part of what we're looking at and things. And she was very well received. And we had another one that talked about sites for growth in each community. You know, we need to be ready for businesses that want to come here, how to handle where we want them to be and provide all this stuff. And it's very important. And I'm glad Judge was there to hear that, because I think I heard you were in the process of doing some of that. And I want to encourage, because the thing about when I see you left already, anyway.
She'll be back.
I'm sorry for taking up too much time. Then we got the hospitals of our districts. Of course, we got Burns, John Day, Baker City, LeGrand, and Union County, of course. And we've got problems with the hospital in Baker, because they've done away with their birthing part of the hospital. And that's very bad for the community, because now they have to go further away. And here the grant is adding to their hospital, Blue Mountain, and additional work. And they've got a lot of doctors and everything. It looks good. And I keep thinking about our hospital and John Day's hospital. And I just hope that the essence was, if we can keep good doctors or get good doctors, then I think our community would benefit by using the local hospital. And that's very important. I think to keep that going, because it seemed like there's 172 or something like that hospitals that are going under in our country, and that's bad. And so we want to try to keep supporting that and doing everything we can to do that, to keep them going. Because for OTEC, we serve all these hospitals and stuff. And we want to keep them healthy so we can be healthy as members of OTEC. We want to really be successful, as well as each community. And we've all heard the same story. We don't have housing for the people that have good wages to come into this country. This is what I keep telling them, that I think, like Burns, I think it's going to be people that wants to work at home, because we don't have a lot of recreation that other areas have. We don't have a ski area. We have fishing and hunting and trail traveling and stuff like that. But anyway, it's very important that we take a look at all of these facets, because of course, some of us old timers maybe don't want our community to grow. But yet we know that we have to be able to provide the services that you guys are talking about. We've got to have people here that can handle it and pay the taxes and stuff, so.
Yeah, that point was very well taken in the speakers there, and even the young lady the economist who gave her presentation. The 10-year forecast, the industry that's going to lead the way in jobs in the next 10 years is the healthcare industry, which is kind of a weird dichotomy there that we have 172 hospitals around the country that are going under, but yet we're in such need for healthcare professionals. So I don't know if they're going under because they can't fill those positions and therefore they can't generate the revenue that they need to stay afloat. I don't know if that's what the cause and effect is there or what, but
That's only part of it.
yeah. So
I could speak for a long time on it. And a lot of it does have to do with money.
Yeah.
Of course. I doubt this hospital will close. It's funded by St. Charles.
That's what
It's
This is
not,
Jody McLean, our home health and hospital
Sorry.
director speaking.
sorry. And I don't work at the hospital anymore, but I have a 17-year background in the hospital. Hospitals, rural hospitals across the nation have been closing down for years.
Yeah.
It's been going on for years and years because of, well, an easy way to put it is all the red tape, all the requirements.
Red tape, yeah.
Yes, and the pharmacy, it's so much money for the drugs and it's just so many different things. That's why when we became a critical access hospital, that kind of saved us too. So there's a lot behind it. I can't picture this hospital closing. It's just,
Yeah.
have they selected a new CEO yet?
Catherine White is an interim CEO.
Interim still?
Mhm. And I don't know if she's going to be, she'll apply for it, I'm sure.
Okay, but they haven't selected a permanent.
Not that I know.
Okay.
And I do know that Catherine went on and got her hospital administration degree or something like that, which is more reassuring to me because I do firmly believe that if you're going to be the CEO of a hospital, you need to have a hospital administration background and degree.
Sure.
Absolutely. Not just somebody that moves up the line like they've had before, where they failed.
So just for the record, and I don't know if we captured it or not, but the first gentleman speaking is Bob Cargill, and he's a member of the OTEC board.
And I've been since 1990. I'm the old guy on it. When they get to talk about new stuff, I'll tell them, well, we used to do it this way, Anyway, I support Jody's deal there. Another thing I wanted to bring out that because of our unclaimed capital credits that we have, we were the first co-op in the country that changed the legislature in Salem, where we keep that money within our accounts. In other words, before they used to have to send that to the state if there was any unclaimed capital credits. And now we hold all that over the years. It started in 1992 or 3. We was able to build that up, and we give scholarships out. And now we're up quite a bit more, but we have already given out over $2.5 million for scholarships for our local youth in all the districts. We have the committees in each district that I've started. They look at the scholarships, the academic scholarships. Now we have a new scholarship for Eastern Oregon University, which is part of our load. It's in our district, so we're very concerned that it keeps going. A few years ago, we heard that the legislatures will want to take that university out and put it over on the west side. Well, our CEO and the president of the college got together and we're supporting scholarships, full ride scholarships for 4 years. And now this is our 4th year. We've got 16 students going to school there that is full ride for 4 years. One thing they had to say that we will guarantee that we will graduate. And So, and then they come back to OTEC office and learn the different parts of our industry. Because we want them to be up to date what's going on, how we supply this blessing, I call it electricity blessing, because I'm sorry, I'm talking too much. Anyway, I was born and raised till I was about 10 years old without electricity. And I enjoy being able to flip the light on instead of filling a coal or lamp up and taking up the room. Anyway, and what I was starting to get at is that we help hospitals too. We helped John Day Hospital to buy a new X-ray machine. I don't know, $150,000, something like that. We used some of that. No, we didn't use that money. We have ability to call a red leg loan that we can get the money, give it to them to buy what they need, and there's no interest. It comes back to us. We don't charge it for anything either. So we're trying to help in that way in our communities, and I think it's very beneficial to the members. You're all members of this school, and anyway, that's kind of some of the things that we're doing, and I just want to let you know about it because we very interested in how our county and our cities are run, and if they're having trouble, well, we want to know it and see if we can do something about it. You know, we can help in a lot of ways. We have a lot of resources.
I look forward to a very strong partnership with OTEC. All the different things that you've talked to, and I'm sure many more in addition to the summit the economic summit that we just attended last week. Very, very good information, very valuable information that I picked up from it. But it just demonstrates OTEC's community partnership in all ways. So I thank OTEC and I look forward to a very productive relationship.
And one comment, your rep, Tucker Billman, he's out here, he speaks with us on a regular basis. He was invited and is on our broadband action team. So he's very connected with us, and he thinks about not just what it is today, but the potential. And so he's a very good resource for us.
He's kind of a local kid, but married a local gal.
Yep.
And I keep reminding him of that. It comes from Harney County. And it's interesting because he is such a talented young man. Our fear is going to lose him. He can go up anywhere he wants to go, but right now we're he's interested in staying and doing the job that he's doing, and we're getting other co-ops coming in and learning for what we're doing. In fact, side note, we went to Hawaii, they had Kauai, and they had diesel to run their electricity and a little bit of water, not much. Well, they wanted to come and they wanted to form a co-op over there. First, they came back here and talked to our directors and everything, how we established a co-op from an investor-owned utility, you know, and they're going to have in the next real life, they're going to have a story about how it all started with 700 pennies that one of our directors and a husband went around to get. And we bought that investor-owned utility, and I was kind of in on the beginning of it after they selected 9 or added 3 more directors to it a year or 2 later after it was formed and bought. But it's interesting how 700 pennies was able to parlay that into a $50 million loan to buy the company. Anyway, it's kind of history, I guess you might say. Thank you.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you for coming to county
Well,
court today.
it's
Appreciate it.
one of those things I feel I need to see what's going on other than what you read or hear.
Thank you. We appreciate your presence.
Thank you.
So, Ms. McLean, you have an update on home health and hospice for us?
I don't have a lot to say. We're doing good numbers wise. We've got 6, 7 hospice patients right now, and that's quite a lot for us. and of course, hospice seems to be more of a moneymaker for us. But usually we average around 3 or 4. So we're doing well. Staff is changing. Dawn will be leaving pretty soon to start her practicum and stuff in her midwifery and her master's degree. She's getting her nurse practitioner. So
I think I heard she was going to school back east somewhere.
well, she has to do clinicals.
Clinicals.
So she's trying to find clinicals that, whatever. Yeah, it has to be a midwife, but she's done the education to get her a nurse practitioner. She just has to do some of her clinicals. So,
Okay.
her name is Dawn, and she's a nurse at our agency. When she came, we knew she wasn't going to be there for too long, but nurses and a good experience for when you don't pass them up, even if they can only stay with you for a year. So she's been very beneficial, and I think she may stay in the community. It kind of depends. There's not a lot of business that way, but because she did get her nurse practitioner, then she can, work as that also. So our office assistant is going to be leaving in October. She took a job with the state. Better pay for her and better benefits. So can't falter on that. I don't think I waver back and forth on it. I don't think I'm going to replace the position. I went without it for 2 years and just took over those extra duties, and I think I'll just do that again because it's a pain to hire somebody and do all that. So that's where I'm at with that. Our gala is coming up on November 4th. I have not prepared for as much as I did last year because I've been busier with patients, but and I've been trying to use some of my time off because I have a lot. But we're going gung ho now, and we sent out all the letters. We had hand delivered all of the local letters to all the businesses. We have increased our sponsorship level. I decided instead of saying that the sponsorship level, the gold level was 500. I created a platinum level of 1,000 and a diamond level of 2,500 because that was a no-brainer. If you set the bar here, that's what people go for. You set it higher, and then we're magically getting more higher donations. So,
Is there anything specific through sponsorships and whatnot, but any specific purchases that you're looking at this year with that, or just for operations, just for services?
So, last year I had planned to use the money to get a bladder scanner. I was not pleased with the cost of the bladder scanner, and so I didn't purchase it because I'm at $24,000. It was astronomical. And so I'm looking into, refurbished ones and all that, but they don't have the warranties. And so that's been kind of a longer process because it's a big chunk of money. But now I think that what would suit us best is it's a wound measuring kind of device, and it has a light on it. It kind of looks like the one that shines, the blue one on the bottom there, and you can put it on a wound, and it can measure it and kind of help diagnose it. We have some of the most complex wounds. Hospitals, when I worked at the hospital, never saw anything like I see now. Nothing like it. So because hospitals get those people for a brief minute and then they come home, and then we're actually working in these environments, and some of the ones you wouldn't even believe it if you saw them. So I think wounds is our biggest thing. That's what we do the most of. And we get a lot of referrals from wound clinics outside the area, which is nice because they know that we're competent to handle them. Wound vacs, we do a lot of those, and I think that this device is just going to be really beneficial for our patients and help the nurses too. But I've got to I'm going to have a demonstration. Gal's going to come give us a demo on it, and then we'll see what the price is. Medical stuff is astronomical. So
when you take wounds like this, I was fighting the other day with weeds and the ground one.
Don't say about that. So I am going to ask I've been part of the gala now for, this will be the 4th year. And we didn't have it for 2 years, but I really want to ask for more county employee support. I don't want to use the word county court support because I don't think that's the right word to use, because I see you guys at our gala. But it's we get very few county employees that ever come. And we're supposed to be county agencies, and it's kind of disheartening to me when we've had barbecues and things and very few people show up. They don't show very much county support
Esprit de
for
corps.
us. Yes. And I'm about teamwork, period, in everything in my life. When we have a barbecue down at Triangle Park and our agency and like 4 other people show up, it makes no sense to me. This gala is kind of the same way. It's not just about our agency. It's about everybody's parent and loved one and that may be on our service at one time. And so we put emails out about it in the past, and we still get maybe 1 county employee that'll come. And it's kind of shocking to me. So that's kind of why I really wanted to approach you guys today. I don't know if you can help with that, because people are people and they do what they want to do and think they support, but don't really. It's more lip service.
We will craft a message, get with you, and maybe craft a message and send it out to all employees.
When you say we, you mean Tammy?
Yeah, yeah.
Just checking.
I thank you and your staff for what you do, home health hospice. As you say, your services touched members of our families, a couple of my family members. And there's, just to say it, there's, rumors are, but there were rumors last year and this year continue that I have a goal to shut down home health and hospice. I will make a public statement right now that I have no goal whatsoever to shut down home health hospice. I value your service. I think it's a good service for our community, and that's my pledge.
I would like to reiterate that, because I was actually approached recently at a Farm Bureau meeting about that same topic and assured them that was not the intention of this court. And so I don't know where that rumor mill comes from, but it has never been.
I don't hear it. I honestly don't hear any of these rumors. I'm not not a rumor person, so I don't hear it.
Well,
but I did get a phone
being
call.
that party, you don't tend to be the one that directly hears.
Right. But I did get a phone call yesterday, and a gentleman wants to donate $200 a month from here on out. He was very concerned that the county court would be involved in that donation. And so I had a lengthy conversation with him about, we are county owned. They own our building. They are our governing body. We self-sustain primarily money-wise, but they are our treasurer. They're going to shut you down. I said, I don't know where this rumor is coming from. I do not feel that. I haven't felt that talking to them. I didn't feel it talking to the last judge. I don't feel it talking to you. So I don't know where the rumor is coming from. And so what? It's a rumor, and I don't care, and they can think what they want, and we're still going to keep doing what we're going to do, and we're going to show that we care, and people can say whatever they want. So,
having also been a victim, as apparently Judge Harney is, of rumors in the past regarding the budget and the finance, I have no idea where it comes from. It's 100% wrong, and it's mean-spirited and divisive. Whoever these
That's
people
right.
are that do this, I wish they would stop.
we just have nothing better.
Come and
to do.
ask us if you want to know.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. On that note, I would publicly say that if anybody in this community, in this county, has any questions about our intent as a governing body, please come and talk to us. My door is open.
Well, thank you guys for that. Yeah, I appreciate it.
I'd like to just ask a question. John Day, didn't they do with it?
They did. They did.
That's
Yeah.
probably where it comes from. I don't know.
Well, it is a worry to me, not because of you guys at all, but I see more and more home health and hospices closing down. And that is probably one of the reasons that I said I wanted to step back out of this position and step out of healthcare management is because people stopped caring about patients and they just kept caring about money more and more and more and more. And government statistics, and you get to spend less and less time caring for a patient. So you can give them all their statistics and you can check all their little boxes. And if you're not making them millions of dollars so they can compete with all these other big hospitals and places, they don't want you anymore. They don't care about people. And so that's exactly what Wallowa did when I was there. They shut their home health and hospice down and they made it a clinic agency where will go out to the patient's home during the daytime hours only. They don't put people on hospice. They are basically, and they're not wound nurses. And so it's very, very limited. John Day is now doing the same thing. Lake County is very much struggling also. They're hospital owned, but these are hospital owned agencies. There's the difference. Every single one of them that is closing down are hospital owned agencies.
And they're looking
Well, I
at the
know
bottom,
you're
Because they
tough.
want the money.
and
I
they're
know
looking at
you're
the bottom
tough,
line.
So don't give up. We can get in that position.
Fighting until my last breath.
Yeah. Well, I may be there someday. I'm getting close. There.
Pre-planning
and
a
I'll-
little off.
I'll have my statistical request for you later on.
Can I leave you guys with,
emoji.
I'm just gonna leave you guys with some sponsor letters, just so you can kind of see what I wrote out. And I put a letter to the editor, and then I'll put an ad in the newspaper.
Thank you.
Well, I'm so supportive. I ended up buying a beautiful framed picture I had no need of by accident at Gala.
Well, I think it was last year's gala that I was at that had a conversation going on at the table that I was at, and I was talking with my hands, and I ended up buying something. I'm
I
like,
know.
oh well, what the heck?
Well, there was a few things I wanted, the necklace your wife bid on, but the price kept going up higher and higher, and I figured, well, I know Denise very well. She donated because I asked her, so I'm just gonna have her make me another one for normal price. Okay, well, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for listening, and I do need to get those policies back sometime.
Okay, all right.
Just because, I mean, even if you guys just sign them off and I'll bring over a book every once in a while, there's no way you can read through all. It's ridiculous. There's 2,000 policies.
So if you guys remember the great big binders, policy binders that she brought by last time, I got them in the office. I will peruse through them because I'll be honest, I haven't gotten around to it, but I will peruse through them, sign them, and then I'm going to leave them on that table by your boxes.
And then I've got 2 more of those.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I get.
And then y'all can pick them up as you have the
Okay.
opportunity.
And you asked for job descriptions.
Yes.
I've had my job descriptions completed since I started, so they're
Okay.
all in a folder.
That's great.
I'll send you the whole folder.
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
All right. Thank you.
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you, Jody.
I'm sorry. All right, great. Good. I liked hearing that. That was a good update. Yes. So, next item under new business is a letter of interest for the Wolf Committee.
Michael Doman has submitted a letter of interest for the Wolf Committee. He is a local contractor and he was trying to make it here this morning, but it doesn't appear he got away from his plumbing job that he was working on either. So I'll go ahead and just read it for the public. In regards to the open position on the Wolf Committee, I would like to be considered for the Wolf Advocate position. Thanks for your consideration, Michael Doman. Mr. Doman resides in Crane. He's a school board member there. He's lived in this county for 5 years. And I appreciate his interest in serving in this open position that we currently have.
So I have a question about openings on that committee, since we're talking about that committee. And is this list of the terms accurate? Because there's a bunch that are expired, or not a bunch, several. If so, 1, 2, 3,
Get that updated.
and
I'll get that
I
updated
would-
with our website person.
And in general, I prefer that it be advertised on our social media or whatever the proper forms for at least a couple of weeks.
We
before.
had for quite a while,
You had?
yeah, it's been vacant for a long
That
time.
one position,
Yeah,
so
Paul
we-
Gray's
are-
position
are there,
has been the open position.
What
What he's moved out of the county. And in the NRAC meetings, we've discussed it on almost every agenda, trying to make sure folks knew in the community that this was an open position as well.
I'll let Judge Hart, if you have any comment on any process you have of.
I realize life gets in the way and our county court meetings are held during business hours. But I've never met Mr. Dillman.
Yeah, and he might be available to come to the meeting tonight. He really was trying to make it to today's meeting. So
So I just kind of have a little reservation about nominating somebody that I haven't even met at all. So, I mean, would be nice to have people, and I've tried, with other positions, we've tried to have people come in person.
well, and like I say, he was
Yeah.
trying to make it this morning, but as a local contractor.
So could we, I mean, if
And in
we move,
general, if we can advertise that we'd like people to submit a letter and their background or reasons for, just again, if we never had
Well,
a chance to.
Patty,
meet
what
him,
kind of background or reasons would you want for? a
Well, I would like
advocate
it.
position?
I would like to hear why they consider themselves a wolf advocate.
It's because
Or
they're
a
aware of
coexistence
the
with.
needs of mitigation in this
Well,
community and they're willing to.
Believe it
support
or not, our processes from years back, people did write why they thought they would be a good candidate for it, whether it was just a
Well,
short
I
paragraph or
believe when
something.
he was going to come today, he was saying,
Good,
that would be great.
I
Go in
asked you a
tomorrow.
question.
Exactly.
Did
but
Could you
for the record-
repeat who's on the committee?
Yes, Russ Clark, Kenny Bentz, and Kenny happens to be the chair of that committee. They're both livestock producers on the committee, so there's 2 livestock producer positions. Then you have 2 local business positions. One is Carrie Boggs, the other is Macy Custis, the local vet. Macy Custis, the local vet
Oh, okay,
from Harney Vet.
yeah.
And then you have Suzanne Settle, who's been a wolf advocate position on there, and then the other wolf advocate position has been open. And then I'm the liaison from the court to that committee.
so where I was getting to is I don't have a problem with nominating and approving this individual, but I would still like to have them try to attend the county court session to
Yeah.
introduce
And
themselves.
I think that's perfectly fine, like say. The intention was that people would be here today.
I know, and that's why I acknowledge that it's business hours and things happen, but
Well, and
I
like I
still
say,
would-
he might, because he is a Korean school board member, he may be at our hearing tonight as well, that we're gonna hold in the Korean community, so. There might be an opportunity to also introduce
Okay.
a background.
As we're talking about that, is there been sightings of wolves quite a bit in the community?
I can fill your ear full, Bob.
Good. I haven't heard a thing other than rumors.
Yeah, there's actually an area of known wolf activity that's been designated in the northwest corner of our county. So up near the IZ.
Yeah.
But there's a resident wolf in that area, and so when the Oregon Wolf Plan was developed, any resident wolves that finally met that criteria would have a polygon basically put around their location that they've been traveling. And those are called areas of known wolf activity. And so they have designated one there. There's also a designated one that dips into the county up by Logan Valley. And so we do have 2 that do partially encompass Harney County that are known areas of wolf activity. There's a lot of wolf activity up in Grant County, up near that Logan area. There's actually been several depredations in that area. And so if you go on to the Oregon Wolf, I have their email bill, but anyhow, they post any depredations in the state, any lethal takes in the state, and they've actually fulfilled several lethal take permits in Wallowa and Union County. And so there's quite a bit of information to be found on the state's website, and you can actually sign up for alerts. And so anytime they have a change to that, They send out an email and you can click on it and go in and see if there's been any current depredations, any areas of known wolf activity designated. And it kind of gives you all that information on their site.
This committee you're talking about, what's their position on that?
Well, so they were able through the state's wolf plan to submit an application for grant funds that are available through the legislature to be able to do some wolf mitigation activity here in the county. So that allows us to either have additional range riders, to be able to do some flagging, to be able to do some additional pins for night security. There's multiple things that it can be used for. And so we have $29,000 that the county submitted and received for that grant application. And so the Wolf Committee will be meeting in October to be able to help designate how to use those funds. I'm sure you're probably aware that there was a depredation in the county earlier in January, February in the Riley area. So we have had this is the second depredation in Harney County. The other one was down on the south end of the Catlow Valley several years ago. But in our next application, we'll also be able to submit for depredation funds for that livestock loss that occurred in Riley. And so that will be part of what the Wolf Committee does in March when they resubmit their application for the grant funds.
I have just for my.
But there has been
So,
there has been a lot of wolf activity over New Year's in the Crane area that you probably heard about. That was significant and, ran a lot of cattle around in that country.
yeah, when it talks about taking taxpayer money to pay for these, that's hard to do. Yeah, I wish it would take it out of here we go. How the agencies that try to run it, their money.
We have very little control over the state's
I know
wolf
it.
plan at
That's
the
the problem.
moment. It's a
It
very
allows-
challenging plan.
Anyway,
Just a question for my own information. Areas of known wolf activity, once an area is designated, does that change or enable anything different in how we proceed?
Yeah, so once you do have that, you can submit application for missing livestock currently. There were several bills put forth in the legislature that was trying to do away with the missing livestock piece because it's been very heavily contested. It's still in place, and so that would allow Harney County in that area, but the nuance to that is where turnout had already occurred. At what point, when you can't count cattle back off the range, can you claim them missing? And so that's an ongoing discussion I have right now with ODF&W to clarify that for us. And so they're going to have that information at our Wolf Committee meeting, because your count, obviously, when you turned out, you have, but where the aqua was put in during the grazing season, how does that affect the missing livestock piece?
now, David, you feel that your Senator Mark and they understand those.
Very well.
Okay.
Yeah, they've advocated well at the legislative level for an increase in compensation. Other states do a multiplier of 7 for a depredation, where this state will only allow you to use current market value for that animal. And so they advocated at length, but we didn't get it across the finish line during this last
That's
session.
Colorado, what is, they're trying to, what is it, Colorado? Wanted wolves or wanting you wouldn't give it to them or something. I what the conversation was, but it's kind of.
Wyoming didn't want to take any credit for the wolves being released into Colorado. Yes.
Any other discussion on the nomination for Mr. Dolman? On the Wolf Committee?
No.
No?
I'd speak to conversation.
I will entertain a motion then.
I move to approve that Michael Doman, a resident Crane, be approved to serve as the wolf advocate position that is currently open on the Wolf Committee.
I second.
Uh,
Michael Doman, is he
He's Tom's brother.
Rudd, okay.
He lives kind of across from the Crane store.
I know the guy, the old guy.
Oh, yeah,
That's on the
his
school
dad.
board, but it's down there.
Yeah.
All these young ones come along, I can't keep up with them.
Well, that family had lived in the area years ago, moved away, and a lot of them moved back to the area.
It's on the school board. I was too.
So, received a motion, it's been seconded to nominate and approve the appointment of Michael Dolman to the Wolf Committee. Any further discussion? I would just add that, like I said, I just would like to invite him still. If I see him at the meeting tonight, I will invite him to county court.
Yeah, like I say, he was willing to come, just.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. And opposed? And hearing none, motion carries.
Well, and after the Wolf Committee holds their meeting in October, we'll try to get the chair to come back to the meeting and get an update to the court. That'd be great. Regarding any actions that the committee chooses to take and any updates that we get from ODF&W at that point.
All right, that's it for old and new business. Moving on, public water notices. Looks like there's one this week. It's a transfer.
D-Dome is who you're thinking of. There you go.
Golden Rule Farms transfer.
That's out past right.
Received a notice yesterday that was withdrawn, their application was withdrawn.
Is it this application or a different one?
Well, I don't have the number and stuff.
We'd have to double check the number.
We can run this report daily or whatever, can't we?
I just printed that yesterday.
Next topic is correspondence. We received some letters this week from the Bureau of Land Management. First one is on an environmental assessment for deer grazing permit. An interested party. The Mount Here Field Office of the Vale District of Land, the Bureau of Land Management has completed the analysis of actions to implement areas unavailable to livestock grazing under the 2015 Oregon Greater Sage Grouse Approved Resource Management Plan Amendment in Dry Creek Bench and Lake Ridge key RNAs. And the RNAs are a resource natural area, I think, if I remember right. And basically those areas, there's only a couple within Harney County, just for note, but they're excluded from grazing.
Right. And some of those are at the base of the stings. Like
Research natural area, there it is. So anyway, just a public notice and letter to the county. And as always, I like to include these in correspondence, just
How
this
much
is
area is involved?
significant amount. It impacts
That's
quite a few parties. Harry Ranch LLC, Steve and Emerita Mayer, Michael and Charlotte Magaria, family of James Reagan, Donald and Susan Coleman, Treetop Ranches, Richard Utariabi, Frank Schertz Jr., Donald and Susan Michael Holman, and Carol Palmer are affected grazing permittees.
Now, this is a land that they have a permit to graze and they're wanting to designate it
They're wanting to reduce grazing in their permits.
to do what?
Reduce grazing in their permits. Yeah, so this is something Harney County had originally, as you can see from the interested public record piece, submitted something on, and so we will probably get with our legal counsel, have him look it over and see if he wants to submit anything further on our behalf.
Is this for sage grouse?
It is in the Vale District. The ones in the Burnsville land were not designated as grazing permits, and so it puts our grazing permittees in a much better situation to not be impacted by this, where the Vale District was not in that same situation.
I just know some of the area that
You-
was designated that, and they put a fence around it, up blocked. There's my son put it in. And then a few years later, they took it out. Well, I was happened to be out there when they were taking it out. I says, have you ever seen any sage grouse in this area? They said, no. So, it's one of those things that seem like, this is my own opinion, that the environmentalists want to control more of not only private land, but public land for non-grazing. In a place where we've got to have more cattle, more production of food, and they want to control it where it'd be we're fighting the same thing with the rivers. They want the dams out so the fish can flow easier. And you're already supporting $800 million a year through the rates of money that we give the Indians to do, so they won't fish as much, you might say. It's changing their way of living. But anyway, that's part of it. And now they want to take the dams out so that they have more salmon coming. Well, they've already proved that the salmon is more even this year than in the past. And we're just having to fight it all the time. And it's contrary to our country for producing food. We produce food on this land that nothing else can grow. You can't grow vegetables. You can't grow a lot of stuff in this sagebrush land. But they put a cow out there and they can convert that piece of property to protein. And we're losing that. And as our population grows, we used to produce food for the whole world. Now, kind of going backwards. And we're allowing these people to have a voice. They got a voice, but they don't understand the situation, I think. Anyway, I'm sorry. I don't mean to talk.
So,
I appreciate you.
no problem. So in regards to this letter, I'll forward it on to county council.
Yeah, if you could, and
And,
just CC me on it, and then, if needed, we can take it up at the NRAC. So that's usually where we, give some further input to county council regarding these type of matters.
And does it say it's due October 10th?
October 10th, NRAC will meet
The
prior
letter. So
to that date, so we
Did you have
can
that letter
actually
still?
provide additional comment.
October 10th. Written comments must be received by. All right, we'll send that out today. Next piece of correspondence received was from a member of the public who is Jennifer Gunter from Wasco County in Oregon. Ms. Gunter is staunchly opposed to the use of election machines. And I would imagine probably every county in this state has received this letter. But while not mandatory, again, it's just transparency. It's in the record.
She was
It's part of-
asked to, have it included.
there
There
were
were some
some too.
additional ones.
That one. and
Did you
one
not
other.
receive the other one?
Same
See-
letter,
Hmm.
different person. Different count.
It was a different county, I believe. My computer just died. I left my port at home.
If I find it, I'll forward it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then we can put it in the next.
Okay, we'll add it. We'll add that one to the
Yes,
to the
it was-
packet then.
One more, I thought you were included on all of them, but I know DAG was, but maybe
Yeah.
you would get left off of one of them.
And then we also received from
Oh,
the United States Department of Agriculture, Forest Service, Malheur Immigrant Ranger District, to a letter to prospective bidders. On October 11th at 10 a.m., sealed bids will be opened in the Malheur National Forest Supervisor's Office for the Crooked Decks sale. The sale is located in the township and range. Again, it's part of the package. If anybody's interested, they can look it up. Timber sale contract will, 24-2 will be used. Termination date for this sale is 10/31/2024. The estimated quantities in this contract have been determined prior to, It looks like, estimated quantities, ponderosa pine and other conifer species, 231. I don't know what that is, if it's board feet or what.
Usually it's 4 feet.
Million more.
Yeah. No, 4 feet.
Minimum acceptable bid, $3.91, $3.91. Anyway, just again, for public reference.
This one, Bill wasn't on that first one. So I don't know if this third one is. Oh, might have known about that one? No. I don't know if it's
I was gonna
everybody.
ask Dag if he recorded those. I assume
He I talked to him about it. He did not record them. There's not a requirement to record them. So that's why I added them to the packet. So at least they're part of the record that way.
actually requested it be included in the public
I don't know.
comment packet. I don't know that the
Sure.
others actually have the same request as Gunter.
Anything further for correspondence? If there's other letters that I wasn't included on or that we missed, just make sure I get the email or
Yeah.
whatever, and we'll add it to the
I got a total of
package.
3 and I'll make sure.
I'm pretty sure that I have 3 as well.
Next topic is scheduling. Meeting schedules, just again as a reminder, tonight at 6 p.m. at the Crane Elementary School multi-purpose room, we have a public hearing for the Crane Water and Sewer District formation of the initial public hearing. And next month, we will return back to our regular county court dates of first and third Wednesday of the month, 9:30 a.m. And I think last meeting you mentioned on October 18th, you were not going
I will
to
be in Lakeview at the Southeast Oregon RAC meeting for the bail-in.
And that takes us to general deliberation.
Which I thought that you said that there was something on the 17th, but.
Yeah. That's too bad, because it's gonna be really good.
Yeah.
But that's all right. A question on, the way we name general deliberations by the court. There had been, a question by the clerk at one point that should we change it to general updates or anything like that? Have you had any more conversations with?
I talked with the clerk and I read the referenced statute on it, and I don't see anything that says that prohibits general deliberation, because it's just discussion. It's deliberation. It's not about a
Information
decision.
sharing.
Yeah, it's not, there's no decision making being made. If it was a decision item, it would have to be an agenda item.
Okay.
So I don't see the concern in it myself.
Okay.
I just
After
hadn't heard-
reading it, I didn't
Yeah.
have any either. So.
Just wanted to hear what happened with that.
We could change it. If it was a different term somebody wanted to use, that's fine, but I really don't see the issue.
I'm comfortable with what it is at this point, unless we talk about the guys from Canada.
Same here. If you guys are good, I'm good.
I did attend in the last couple of weeks. I attended the CREA tour in Prineville, which is the Community Renewable Energy Association. Very good tour, very good networking opportunity, very good to see what Crook County Prineville has done with their renewable energy and the other economic development opportunities that they've had. It's very encouraging that if Prineville could do it, Harney County could do it. So
no, I'm glad you were able to attend that. I've always found value in those meetings, actually. They're very
Yeah.
informative.
Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it. And then last week attended the OTEC Economic Development Summit. Again, another excellent exchange of information. The siting information was very good, which led me to, and I've already had a conversation with our planning department, community planning director, Mr. McMullen, on looking at our permitting processes to identify where there potentially might be policy.
Low conflict land opportunities regarding development. That's what I have a note from my retreat. Is that what the same thing? They recommend initiating coordination and identifying low conflict land opportunities regarding development.
That's the DLCD is got a rack that's open right now looking for members to help advise on that topic. No, I'm not enough.
Actually, there in this presentation, it was more about, and I should have brought my notes with me. But it was things like speed to market. So you have a business or an industry comes in, is interested in your area, and they want to know how long from the time they file that application for a permit to the time that they can start getting their product out the door. And a lot of that is permitting. Yes.
Yeah.
So a lot of that is permitting and the permitting process. And so I think it's wiser, and my conversation with the planning department, to look at the permitting process, see if there's areas that we can streamline. And in some cases, it might be that this is an application that has great potential for our community and maybe needs to go to the top of the pile, those kind of things. But also other areas where there could potentially be snags or something that might hold up the permitting process, to look at ways of mitigating those issues and speeding it up. When an industry looks at an area for investment, these are the kind of things they look at. Time is money. And so I think it's it's planning. It's a review. It's a process of making sure that we have our processes nailed down. So I've already talked with, like I said, the planning department. I'd kind of like to run some scenarios, basically, that I walk in the door, here's an application for a X number 1,000 square foot building. Where does it go next?
I had a constituent call me with a conversation that lasted an hour and a half that had a lot to do with all of planning stuff, and they highly recommend we look toward Lake County and how their department functions, because they're very good at doing what needs to be done efficiently for all involved, for everyone from the permitting to all the fees and how many times you come back, get it done right up front, this and that. But the permitting, yes, that's
Lake County had been a previous Harney County employee, though. He learned from our department. So there is, probably some sharing that can go on there, but he had been. There were some.
Yeah, I have asked the community planning director, Mr. McMullen, to come in. Did we put him on a schedule already yet? I can't remember.
We'd seen him for the FEMA last meeting.
Yeah. So, but I did have asked him to come in and give. They're in the process right now. The planning department has gotten some new. What's the word I want to use? Vision towards what they can do for the community and how they can structure and services that we can keep in-house and provide that one-stop shop more effectively. From all the way from inspections of different types, and that's not my world. It's like being a doctor. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to speak to what those processes are. But there's some very exciting opportunities coming their way. They've been in consult with. There's an Eastern Oregon building association or something like that they weren't aware of until just a couple months ago. that is a very good, going to be a very good informational resource for them in their development of the department down there. So there's some exciting things that are going to happen with our planning department. And I don't want to steal the thunder too much from Mr. McMullen, but
Yeah, low income share.
but that all ties in with this citing and permitting and permit review and proposal reviews, whatever, all plays into that. So we're getting there. Harney County, I think, will be in a better position in the next year for potential development.
Well, and even when it comes to renewable resources, there was some recent bills in the legislature that did get us just a little further down that road, where we had some walls before that are, you know, slowly being reviewed. And so there was some, you know, it's the process, just like with the DLCD rack that's going to take place. We're going to see a lot of what happened with those bills and have racks and then be able to move forward. And some of those processes will tie back into some of the work that Director McMullen will be looking at. And so it'll be interesting to see what comes from this session that intersects with them, because I know several bills that will be things within their wheelhouse that allows them to interact differently.
That's
with the public.
great. It's like it's all starting to come together a little bit more
Well,
for
the
us to be
state's
able
looking
to.
at things a little differently
Yeah.
in a few areas.
It's good.
This is what I hear in the community from contractors. It's the planning department's unreasonableness.
Unreasonableness.
That's kind of.
Some of them taking 3 years to accomplish.
Some of those are state reviews, and so it depends on whether
All the
it's federal or
regulations
state.
that's coming out, and this is why I know at least 2 contractors say they're not going to do anything here. Is it because of the planning department putting all these regulations on them that is so ridiculous, in their opinion, and a few others, that it's not necessary to be able to maybe handle your own piece of land. But anyway, that's what I hear. And with this, I want to invite you all to OTEC is having a meeting here in Burns, October, I think the 18th. At the Central Hotel, and we're having a district meeting here, and we want as many patrons of OTEC to show up.
Do you know what time that meeting will be?
I think at 5:30 or something in the evening,
Okay, good.
because the other directors are kind of coming over here, and they gotta realize how far I go to visit them. Anyway, they're coming, and we've been pushing for just kind of a town hall meeting in 8 different areas. We've already had one in John Day, and it wasn't advertised well enough. We thought that wasn't a very good one. So Leah Hoover is in charge of this, and you'll be hearing from her. She doing this. And anyway, we want as many people to show up at this meeting, maybe because they're Harney County people. I want to show the rest of the districts that we care too.
You know, Bob, you have a lot of good thoughts and information. And on behalf of OTEC, if you and Tucker or just you ever want to get scheduled on the radio for that Harney County Live, you know, I think your thoughts are things people would be interested in hearing.
Well, I think, I don't know, I'll talk to Tucker, but he might have already decided to do that. I know that the radio is getting more popular. Kind of like it used to be when Stan Swall was here. You know, that was really good because, anyway, I just want to let you know personally that if you can, they would like to have you show up and we're looking for people because I've been on the board since 1990, 33 years, same as I was on the Fair Board, about that far. But anyway, we really care for our members, and we want all of when I got on the board, or one of the things that was happening that I got changed is that fees that an applicant wanted to do like a building or something, a new home or something about electricity, hooking up electricity. They had to have a fee paid before they even come look at it. I got that done away with. It's ridiculous. You know, people remember they should be able to come to us and say what their plans are and how much electricity they are, you know, and just like, well, up with, kind of a negative thing that happened, Scott Campbell up here at Sylvia's Road, the ranch, he bought that and he was wanting us to fly it to provide electricity to his golf course and all the 500 cabins that he was going to build. And he wanted us to put in enough electricity to supply all of it. Well, we asked him how much electricity were you going to use? He wouldn't give us an answer, but we went ahead and figured out what it would cost to do that. And it'd be over $2 million. Well, they asked him to put up the $2 million and then we'd have to put a new substation in there. He didn't want to do it. So we didn't do it either. So now he's using diesel. So, you know, it's one of those things that we have some things that people ask us to do that we can't do. You know, just like I had a person call me, ask if they can put in a solar panel and maybe a little bit more, they could get some of the electricity out. I said, well, we don't buy solar electricity. Why? Because it's higher than what we buy. What we buy. We get all our electricity from Bonneville Power, which is hydro. And if people want to have solar or wind, they can buy it and service us that source, but it's higher. In fact, we did go ahead and build our own solar farm in the Grand. I think it's, I don't know how big it is, very small. You know, we sell parts of that, and we haven't even sold it all. So we do customer surveys every now and then to see what our customers want. We try to provide them. So anyway, I just wanted to give you that information.
So on the permitting side of things that you spoke about in our planning and permitting processes, it's nice to know specifics. So if you talk to any of those contractors, please ask them to get in touch with me because I'd like to know specifics and if we can address those and see what we can do.
Things within our control or out of our control.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. If it's a state requirement, you know, the state has the ultimate authority.
Well, I think
but if
it's the distance we have to have inspectors.
Yes, I know that's part of it, and we're working on that.
I did that years ago. Kramer was developing something down there. I went through a sewer system in, and it took several days for it even look. I had to get hold of it. You know, and we looked at it and turned around and walked it. You know,
We've improved that piece.
Huh?
We have improved that piece.
Well, I hope so.
Sewer
You know,
inspections.
and here we pay, and yet it's foolishness.
We have local staff here now that's providing those services that weren't available prior.
And some of the inspections that are being done by the state right now, that's part of what I'm referring to is that we're working on increasing our service capability here and not have to rely on somebody that's on the other side of the state.
That's good because who knows our country better than we do. It's not somebody behind the desk and forth.
Yeah.
Or saying.
So like I said, though, I would ask if you have those conversations with any of the contractors, please ask them to give me a call, come in and talk to me because I can't address any, if it's within our power to address, I can't address them if I don't know what they are.
That's the problem with homes.
Mhm.
You know, we don't know what's going on in here unless we come in here. And even though we get reports, but the thing about it is, you don't know what's going on necessarily out in the country, different areas of people that they brag about it and gossip about it, but don't do anything about it. And we're trying to, when we hear these things, we're trying to do something about it.
Yeah.
And
So
that's what we're doing. Project anyway.
we'd appreciate your assistance in spreading the word.
Well, I'll try.
All right. That's all I have for my part. Commissioners?
Sure, mine, didn't have time to get it organized and make more sense, but, as you know, I attended the Association of Oregon Counties, the District Two meeting, the wildfire hazard presentation for the District Two meeting, the Association of Oregon Counties Board of Directors retreat, and the legislative retreat. So that was an action-packed, very full 3 days in beautiful Klamath Falls. I have never been to Klamath Falls before. And well attended, a lot of commissioners, chairs, and judges there. So I can't come and say this is what was decided. Nothing was decided. The general membership decides things, and that'll happen in November at our annual conference. But a lot of things were very thoroughly discussed, and staff, was there, et cetera. So a couple of the highlights would be, dues is always an issue, the dues scenarios. And if you see, if they've emailed it out, or you can go to the website to see the proposed AOC budget. It's a very thick document now because they've been asked over the last couple of years for more information, more transparency. So it's thick, but there are 3 scenarios, and the body of elected officials said, we've got more people here today than we have at conference. We have a lot of people here and a lot of good conversation. Can you make some time during the annual conference for this type of a forum for those who, for everybody, be more efficient in how we cover things, but so that before the business meeting that comes at the end of that week on Thursday, that we vote on different things. So everyone will be up to speed or feel comfortable voting on
More of an
things.
information session.
Yes,
That would be
yeah,
helpful.
because it is hard to get everybody to everything, and there's nothing like being in the same room for 3 days, 2 days, however many days different people were there. It was I'm glad I went, mentally exhausted, and come back and go, I don't have much to report that got done, but it was very important. Just odds and ends that were thrown out that may or may not be AOC things. So October 14th, there is an eclipse, and like Klamath Falls is really in the throes of where the zone is for it. But anyway, so they're doing some of the planning we did a couple of years ago around that other eclipse event where people came through. Wildfire mapping, there's still rulemaking and public meetings to be had. They'll be coming up. One of the main things that happened was, instead of calling it wildfire risk mapping, it's wildfire hazard mapping. You saw the changes. Sometimes there weren't a lot of changes, but in the coloration of the maps from before and after. Some of the key things they base it on are weather, climate, topography, and vegetation. Those are the 4 elements that they use to guide their mapping. And structural density and proximity to burnable vegetation determine the hazard level, basically. So when they come here, and I know Commissioner Shellman kind of helps lead us on these things, I hope that we can have as good of maps as available. I'm gonna, I think they can do better, where people can zoom in and really see. And if there's still inconsistencies, even with those 4 parameters they use, while the guy 2 houses down has a totally different, rating, those kind of things can still be asked, and the process can still be done. On the insurance, fire insurance, and how those costs went way up, and some insurance companies won't cover homes out here anymore, et cetera, that type of thing. There was a man there from a state entity, and I couldn't catch which one, but he said that if you have a home and you can't get insurance for it, or it's just so astronomically high that you can't get it, then there is supposed to be at least some opportunity for the state to have some type of insurance for you. But
It's
Again, I
very pricey insurance. That was,
yeah,
That
so
happens
I mean, that
so
didn't
before.
answer the question per se, but that was a question I asked. They said that irrigated agricultural ground mapping will be a policy question as to whether it meets the intent of the legislation around this. So that is something that has yet to be determined policy wise. Let's see. As it relates to counties, you know, the local adoption of fire hardening building codes, that is what they're encouraging counties and cities and folks that do this type of regulation and adopt local things, is that we should probably get a brief from our planning director or building department on, does Harney County have any of those? Are we even considering any of those? Maybe we aren't, you know, maybe we are. Are there any that aren't? You know, what are the options? Do no additional, adopt one that's catching speed is a good one to have, or if we do nothing, you know, maybe we don't need to do anything, but that was something that they were throwing out there. And I don't know how the NRAC intersects with all this or not, you know. I just wrote down NRAC.
The NRAC's aware of it. When it's my turn, I'll speak a little more to that than to you.
Okay, so that was kind of on that stuff. There were breakout sessions at the retreat that had to do with the different steering committee focuses, and there wasn't a lot of time to it, but the Measure 110 is definitely a priority for AOC to figure out their strategy and be proactive in whatever we advocate for. And when it comes to how united is AOC to be able to do anything on behalf of the whole association of all the counties, you saw that I'd sent out a little video that was mainly to get topic discussed that related to how divided we can be at times. And so I got, I think, about 75 views on it, whatever. People would ask me about it. So we didn't, that wasn't the main focus. That was the main thing to get people on board about, you know, AOC. And I think the discussion went to, yeah, we all agree we shouldn't say we're neutral if we're divided. At least don't do that. And if AOC staff or commissioners are at the Capitol and we're, you know, advocating and trying to educate and inform legislators and things, but they ask about something that wasn't on the AOC, you know, what you're there to talk about. But they say, well, how does AOC feel about that gun bill? We haven't seen where AOC is coming out on that. When they ask that, we should be able to say, that's a divided issue in AOC, and the main things that it was divided on were this, that, and the other aspect. Now, getting back to why I'm here to talk to you, you know what I mean? So we should be able to say something, not pretend, oh, we're not going to take a position. Well, yeah, we might not be taking a position, but educate your legislators. This is a divisive issue.
It depends on which staff.
I know,
Conversation.
but I'm just trying to say, we were trying to get to things. Let's see, on some other, it was good, more to come, you know, people are gonna have to digest it. There was a lot of good representation from Eastern Oregon there. So, okay, the Southeast Oregon Broadband Action Team, our broadband action team, and the work on that, I'm very pleased. I got to see the first presentation of just the little core group, meaning me and the contractors, on that rapid design study that we have contracted for and what that is. And it's an online thing where you click and you read and you learn, and there's many, many things to it. And Harney County, our broadband action team, will be in a good position to request whether we can get or not anywhere from $6 to $8 or $12 million, depending on if they do consider what they say they're considering, whether people are unserved, underserved. We're in a high cost to implement infrastructure, and yet some basic things. So it's a good mix of rationale, you know, and I was pleased. So that the next COBAT meeting, and the only one possibly the only one for the whole year, but definitely the only one so far. We're gonna have it in Burns, in person, hybrid. And hopefully get a lot of the local people to come to it. And we will allow the public to sit and listen, you know, they won't deliberate in it, but we're gonna have the contractor present it, you know, on a big screen and all that. And then the following day is a county court day. So Susan Christensen and Rachel Maddock Hughes wanted to be on the agenda first thing, and they have to take off for places so if they can be the very first order of business.
What was the date on that?
October 18th. So the session on the 17th will be more detailed in talking about it than what we'll have offered here, but still.
17.
October 17th at 9 a.m. in the community center is where we're gonna have that. I don't know what I thought the rapid design study was gonna be. I think it was more or less, I was thinking it was gonna be some document, you know, but it's really a database. And from that database will come our planning and grant applications and various things. But I think it's the first time we can really look at what Harney County, all of Harney County, you know, from Fields on up, look like for these things. So I'm pleased that that was done. Some of this stuff, Commissioner Sherman will probably, there's gonna be this week, Thursday and Friday, Oregon Water Resources Department Commission in town. So there's posts on Facebook that, including the county, has already posted that on theirs, I think, haven't you?
Watershed Council, you could share that.
I saw it on yours. So then
Yeah, I shared
posted
the
it.
Watershed Council's post.
Yeah. And so that's always a good opportunity when a state commission is in town. And I won't go to the field trip, but I'll try to go to the afternoon on the Thursday in the morning or the Friday just to listen. And I don't think I have anything else doing it.
Yeah, they don't come here very often. So good to sit in on.
What's happening October 25th? Oh. Well, the big is the 24th, right? The Blues Intergovernmental Council, and that same day in the evening will be the Forest Plan Assessment Open House in Hines, right?
At the
Same
chamber.
place? Oh, at the chamber. That one will be at the chamber. Okay. So those are good things for us to get the word out on. October's going to be pretty busy. I don't think I have anything else. No, that's it.
Yeah, so touch quickly on the mapping. I also attended that, yes, several questions. Didn't feel satisfied with the answers I got, as you can imagine. They're still putting us at such a large scale with the mapping data that I feel it skews our data for our local area. And so that's something that when Representative Owens and Senator Finley and several of us met with the OSU team that did the mapping, that was one of our bigger concerns, was the scale of data that they were using, because it does blow us up and put us in more of those high and extreme situations, as well as land management, over expressing the vegetation load in some areas. The only good thing that really comes with the mapping is it still gives us opportunity to go out for funding for projects that we've already designated through the Soil and Water Conservation District, as well as the Wildfire Collaborative. And so the mapping continues to support what they're already doing, but allows them access to some funding that can come with trying to deal with, invasive species and other things that carry a fire load. And so the insurance piece is still very disturbing. I feel their answers are very pathetic, and that there is no recognition of how it's really impacted citizens. And I do believe that the state should put something in place that does not allow insurance agencies to have a percentage of a jump like what they did last year due to the wildfire mapping, and for an agency to be able to go in and jump everybody's rates to the level they did should be unlawful.
I like the to also apply to the healthcare industry as well.
Yeah, I mean, it should apply to multiple things. Of all the things that the state does address, I feel like they really miss the boat on some of those things that would actually protect us as citizens.
It was interesting because maybe you could see from Zoom, but you had all the commissioners, everybody around all our tables, and then when that meeting started, about 30 people came in that were either ODF
Staff.
or a city or a county staff or a state fire marshal type folks, and they were all in there. I don't know how much how the Zoom worked for that.
It's decent.
Yeah, and there were, like 3 people that primarily spoke, but still, I was like, wow. I wonder if they're there to field questions or just show a unified front or what, but
They field questions because they didn't know what would be thrown at him. Director McMullen had to jump off before Harney County was able to speak, but he is keeping tabs on that piece when it comes to home hardening and the things that will impact the community development into the future with the home hardening in any of the areas that are designated ruins. And so he's got his eye on that. That will be, a continued piece that they'll have to work with folks on. Obviously, it would not be for anything retro, but anything in the future as far as additions of buildings. And so he'll, as that moves forward, continue to keep us in the loop and updated on that. But he's very aware of it.
But the map, and this is my concern on that part of it, is that the mapping and the data or the formula they're using to determine those hazard levels is such a broad brushstroke still, and they talk about all the different scenarios that they've run with this data and with those variables included, that it's still so broad. It's so broad without coming out and doing some kind of ground truthing to look at a specific area. And even if you look at a broad area, does it match up with the data that you have in your system that you're using to create the map?
We brought him on a tour
after
Senate Bill 760
after the last
came and made him do a ground truthing tour with us, and they were very surprised that that really shouldn't look like that on the map then. And so they're aware of it. I think Senate Bill 80 is the first step in addressing it. They're aware that it needs additional changes to it, but we're certainly not there yet.
So based on that, again, the seemingly broad stroke that they're using to classify areas at different levels of hazard, and then you start talking about permitting and
home hardening
requirements. Yeah. The first thing is to determine really is the land right next to the property or right next to the construction site of the project that you're wanting to build. Is it really at the level that they say it's at? And if it is, what's the proximity? And then for proximity, at what distance or how close do you start kicking in these requirements? If it's in the forest and the trees are right up next to your property, obviously.
The forest that they're looking at here.
Well,
a lot
fuels,
of it is. Well, it is in even the forest fuels. It is our vegetation here from our forest boundary.
Just a rangeland fuels.
That is where we're rated highest, is this area, and they're considering this vegetation load to be high, which they've gone away with extreme. Extreme's no longer a designation, but they're still including us completely in that high designation.
Yeah,
and
if you look at the map,
this is where we have the most management going on, is in the area that is considered high, that does have the most amount of buildable acres. And that's one thing I brought up with them at the meeting, is you're still impacting our private landowners the most, because where we do have private land, you have us rated the highest.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's just,
so
we're not done with that conversation. As we have county level input, obviously this is a broader meeting.
Yeah.
We'll continue to drill down on that with them. And
I kind of felt like it was, they were trying to give the courtesy of, commissioner type people to be able to ask some questions before they start going out for the public comment in the communities. But with updated maps they provided, I mean, there wasn't much to
changes
talk
some
about.
places.
You might have seen the really darker color go to the next higher darker color. So maybe you're thinking, oh, it went away. Well, they did away with that designation, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, okay, I wasn't gonna sit there and ask a bunch of questions. I just for them bringing all those people there, I guess they expected a whole lot of questions, but I didn't know that they'd have been prepared to answer the questions I would have liked to ask anyway.
Well, we still have to, like I say, get them at that county level. And go into it more.
On that topic, Senator Merkley has reintroduced or is reintroducing wildfire risk. What's the actual name of the legislation?
I saw that email, but yeah.
Now my phone doesn't want to cooperate. Anyway, efforts to reduce wildfire risk, boost economic opportunities in forest dependent communities. Preliminarily, what I had read so far on it, it has a provision for, and again, all the fine tune elements of it, I don't know yet, but there was a provision for 25% of receipts, which we already get if there's actual timber sales. Now, I don't know what this additional 25% is going to be, is if it's going to be of anything, you know, whether it's salvage, whether it's non-commercial.
Clear
Yeah.
In the press release.
Yeah.
I'd like
So-
to see more details.
So there are provisions for, basically this is Harney County. You know, boost economic opportunities in forest dependent communities. That's Harney County.
And, you know, it comes down, a lot of it is connected to land use itself, right? And the state's approach to that, and whether they're gonna be more flexible or be able to make decisions and rulings in a little bit faster fashion than the old ways. But the homelessness issue and the governor's, you know, push to get a lot of housing built in certain areas, those regulations and considerations and where DLCD intersects and all that is all kind of churning around. You know, so you get your wildfire hazards and you've got places that aren't zoned or allowed for development of some homes outside the UGB, or even,
Which is what this
all of that.
RAC will address, which is why it's really important for people in rural communities to participate on that RAC to bring that kind of point of view into the room. Maybe you ought to.
well, I was Commissioner Shellman, that, you know, I just have I forgot to mention that the Housing Authority of Malheur and Harney counties, Christy Rodriguez, who was part of that local planning group, Zoom we had, et cetera. And then I had sent on an email at some point that described what had happened to Malheur County when they did everything right, being in that initial group, and then later they didn't get there. They got kicked to the curb. And so I have a Zoom meeting scheduled with Senator Finley, Rep. Owens, Christy Rodriguez, and myself. I'm mainly introducing Christy to them to just seek their advice on what, if anything, they advise so that they don't get treated that way over the course of these matters. And that'll be coming up. But also, then Christy said, I'd really like you to be on our board or someone from Harney County. We have a couple people, but she's just excited that I'm engaging with this, and I am, for a lot of reasons, but just a couple important reasons. But at any rate, I'm happy to do that. I can Zoom in most of the time, and they have quarterly meetings. So I said, you might be the more proper person, but he said his plate's very full. All our plates are full, but I can do this one. So I went ahead and put in an application. I think they'll make their decision next month, but I'm pretty sure. I think I would feel bad if I don't get accepted actually on this one. But I care about them. You know, they're our good neighbor. They let us be part of the conversation at the end when we kind of were forced to have to participate a little bit, and they were good partners in that discussion.
It was a good discussion.
So anyway, I'll let you know if that happens.
Well, their application, I didn't feel was very appropriate for their area. So I thought it was really disappointing that they didn't receive any of their requested funds.
So that the actual act name from Senator Merkley says, I'm excited to let you know that Senator Merkley and with Senator Wyden's support, and the act is Wildfire Resilient Communities Act. So I'm gonna be watching that one, see where it goes. I think it potentially could be something good for Harney County.
Yeah.
Anything else? Commissioner Sean?
If you allow me to talk, I know who did.
On?
Well, it's wildfire. One part of it, you don't have to take any of this down. Part of it is we're trying to this 138 line that comes across, as well as our 69 comes through timber and sagebrush. And we are trying to get the Forest Service to let us trim those trees back away from the power line, cut them shorter. As they go back, they can be taller. Because we found out that those California fires, because they didn't do the tree trimming, some of those poles and some of the electricity come into the power line and started fires. Some of them, not all of them, but some of them did. And it's our 138 line we own, OTEC owns, but we lease it to Bonneville Power. But we can get power from that substation, but the 69 line coming across that services a lot of the people between here and there. But we're wanting to cut that timber back away a little bit further and have a little wider right away. And also coming through sagebrush ground, we have volunteer fire departments around in the community here. And they call me and ask if OTEC could help them with their equipment and stuff. And I said, sure, that was 2 or 3 years ago. Anyway, we have a foundation now in OTEC that people want to give to the foundation, that we're starting to support these different rural volunteer firefighting people, to give them some money from OTEC to help them keep going, and equipment and stuff like that. We did it out here with the one that up through north. I said, yeah, they're coming through sagebrush, and so if we kind of help with our firefighters to be able to do that. Another thing, I asked Harney Electric, and when they were having so much trouble down by fields, all those fires, I said, why don't you take about a 6 or 8 foot circle around each pole and kill all vegetation? Well, they said we'd like to, but we can't because of the
Rules.
you know, and it's simple things, you know, and those are some of the things that we're trying to do. And as far as the broadband, well, then they're giving money away from the government for us to get that through there. We're studying the thing also, and so far we've estimated it'll take $90 million in just the OTEC district put in broadband, and that's not necessarily that everybody will hook up, because we already got one fiber.
Yeah, it would cost about that if you do fiber all the way
Yeah.
down, and that's,
I don't think
we're not
able to do it.
probably gonna
No.
even do anything more than mention the
Becomes
cost.
cost prohibitive.
That's even more cost prohibitive than what we can go after, which is, relatively speaking, way more reasonable, but still
Well,
a
and
lot of money.
Yeah.
Bob, as far as the power line issues that you just mentioned,
Mhm.
I think that would be a great topic for the Natural Resource Advisory Committee to take up. And so I'll work with you on getting that on the agenda, and then we can have some further discussion around that.
Yeah, you know, other people, well, I don't say, it's been said that OTEC has the best fire mitigation plan of any co-op in our state. And of course, we're compared to what California's done with the investor-owned utilities, they're not doing it. You know, we have some ugly looking trees around our power lines, but at least we're trying to keep them away. And that's, we spend a lot of money on controlling our power lines, you know, keep the trees back. constantly cutting trees in all 4 districts. And luckily, and I almost got him his job, Brandon Barron. He had a little local company and he did part of our deal. And then when we lost our Miller Creek company that kind of quit on us, I said to the CEO, I said, why don't we use local? And so Brandon got into it and now he's control all of the OTEC and sometimes even New Matilda Electric. And he bought a lot of equipment. And
Created a lot of jobs.
yeah, and the funny, of course, I like to tell stories about him.
I don't know if some of
Chris,
those
my
are
wife-
okay here. I know
Don't
Brandon.
record any of it. My wife taught him, and he didn't like to come to school. He just didn't want to come to school. And it happened with the other teachers also. So Sandy,
Okay.
his father didn't know this. So he came to school and sat in every class for several days, making sure he stayed in school. It's funny because he's a successful businessman now, and he's doing good. And
There's
I'm
hope,
proud of
yes.
him. Anyway.
Can I just reflect back on the rumors with hospice? My recollection is that during different budget board hearings in the past administration, there was, when the budget was in trouble, that was part of the discussion. I haven't heard anything about it since, and I think it was opposed by the citizenry, because hospice is so important.
There have been no discussions about that possibly even happening.
Not since I've been
then.
on the court.
I mean, so
But I
these
know
rumors
years
are
prior to us.
generated elsewhere.
Anything else?
I'm good.
Okay, I had just a couple of real quick go backs. First off, I wanted to mention we had the biomass board meeting, first
Oh,
board
yeah.
meeting. Yesterday, days fly by. Yesterday, we do need to put on the agenda coming up and to discuss who we want to fill our second seat. Our seat is going to be vacant, and the public at large position, the individual that they were going to put forward for that decided not to, but I don't know, it's in flux. That seat could be available too. But at any rate, our second seat that the county needs to nominate somebody for, we need to think about that. And also just real quick too, on the upcoming Association of Oregon Counties annual conference. We've been working with individuals from the High Desert Partnership, Biz Harney, to put together a booth for us at the Taste of Oregon this year.
Nice.
Executive Assistant Renfro has been working on, we want to design a banner type thing to showcase our booth
Great.
and things that we could use at other events as
Yes,
well, not
yes.
just there, but
That'd
other
be
things.
great.
So we're working on that, and hopefully Harney County will be, or is going to be represented at this year's AOC.
Nice.
Best one.
Yeah.
I have one item for our executive assistant. I just pulled up the agenda for tonight's public hearing and I'm gonna be there. You don't have my name on there.
Oh.
You'll just have the other two.
When we were having it the week before you were, and so it might be
Oh,
carry
okay.
over from that, because you were gonna be gone.
And that's on the agenda.
You were gonna have it on the 20th.
Yeah, on the
Oh,
agenda.
okay, okay.
All right.
Just change that. That's all I have. Just those couple of quick go backs. Anything else? We're gonna get out before noon today.
Wow.
If there is nothing else for the good of the record, or anything else, then Harney County Court shall stand adjourned at 11:56 a.m. Thank you, everybody.
Bob, can I get your number?
541-589-0046.
Okay, I'll be in touch about the NRAC meetings.
Okay.
Thank you. Bob, do you use